time. Come on. Let's go. All right. We're gonna wake up Forest Park and River Forest here. So what I want to do is be very practical and be very succinct, which I think is part of practicality. And so my goal is in 7 minutes to cover what we're going to cover. And if anyone does not have a pen or a pencil or some kind of writing utensil, if you get one, borrow one, because I think it will be really helpful for you to write down some ideas that come to you. It won't be ideas that I give you. I'm looking to prompt you. My name, again, is Matt Barron. My company is Inside Edge PR. And the thing that I enjoy most about public relations is helping companies, individuals, organizations get their stories out there, wherever out there is. Usually it's through the media, sometimes it's through other means, such as directly to their audience, through case studies that they can give to the next prospect or to their existing client base to reinforce their loyalty. And this time of year, it's early December, it's 2.5 weeks away from Christmas, we're in the midst of Hanukkah, we've got other faiths and other types of celebrations going on throughout December and into the new year. And so what I want to do for each one of you is give you some ideas about how you can promote what you do to help people through your business or your service. And so just a quick example, coming in today to the River Forest Community Center, some of you may have seen the Chicago Parent issue, which has been out for a few weeks now. And on the cover is a Chicago bear, Devin Aromashadu. Thank you, I'll pronounce it once only. And it's called Giving Back. Santa on a Budget, How to Tell the Kids is also in here. Obviously very seasonal. And so the importance of telling your story in a timely manner is really key. Having been a reporter for about 20 years, I understand that it doesn't make sense to talk about Valentine's Day just yet. To talk about 4th of July right now makes no sense unless there's some controversy over the funding for it last year or the controversy over how you're going to fund it this coming year. Here's another magazine that was downstairs, Mindful Metropolis, and it's a woman standing in the midst of snowfall. So again, visuals are really important in timeliness. So thinking about your own business, one of the things that I do is with any new client or prospective client is I go through something called PR prep, building your inside edge. And over the last 5 years, I've been helping mostly businesses in the Chicago area get their story told, oftentimes to a radius of about 10 to 15 miles. It's not that broad of a geographic sweep. And usually it's very local type of journalism that would be really pivotal for people to get. And so through PR Prep, one of the things that I do is help folks identify and look at how to reach their target market. And created a bullseye here with a list of questions around it. If anyone wants to receive a copy of this, you can do so. Just send me an email and I'll send it to you. This is something that's complimentary, which is a long way of saying free. Free fits a lot easier in headlines. Blagojevich was really difficult to fit the headlines, so he was called Blago, not because we loved his nickname so much. Schwarzenegger, ever seen the name Schwarzenegger in a headline? He had the longest name for any governor. Steve Rauschenberger would have tied him if he became governor. That's a bit of a digression, in case you weren't aware. All right, so identifying and reaching your target market. So who is your audience? So think about who is your audience. How can you expand your existing audience? What does your audience need to know? Do you need to create different messages for different audience segments? What will move them to take the action that you desire? Is there a more effective way of reaching them? And how do you reach them now? These are some of the questions that I like to pose to people that I'm talking with so that they can really start to identify and expand on what they've already been thinking, oftentimes without actually putting it into print. And so many people have business plans that are up in their head, which is really hard to get angel investing from things in your head. You need to have it actually on paper so they can see it and critique it and improve upon it. I just received actually something from an old friend and a client from the past who may be a client again, and he's got something that's a multi-billion-dollar deal over the next 3 years involving some major real estate, and so I'm going to be proofreading his business plan. And so that's one of the things that I do is from a tweet to a billboard all the way to books. I can take any piece of writing and offer feedback and oftentimes improve it. So just again, another aside there that's completely constructive. So thinking about your own businesses, I'm going to single out somebody right now who, David Riddle, who's a new member, he's a Reiki master. Last week David did a great job, not only with me but with my wife. And to think about for your own practice, David, this time of year, Are there certain types of ailments or issues that you tend to see people have over the last 10, 11, 12 years? Does December create a certain increase in some symptoms or issues?
Yeah, I would say that the main thing would be lack of energy, because people start getting stressed out too. So it's not just the stress, I should say, but I mean it seems to be a lot of lack of energy.
Okay, so lack of energy through stress and wear and tear
in other areas
okay.
too, yes.
All right, so that's one example where, and the media really, they fall for things that are really finite, like 3 keys to fill in the blanks. I recently did something for an organization that was, the theme was the 3 tips for avoiding a dysfunctional holiday season for families involved with divorce, because we all know that dysfunctional family is a redundant term, and so this time of year creates, right? So this creates the real platform to talk about around the holidays, as you have all these awkward and sometimes volatile situations in different homes and different step siblings and step parents and half in-laws and quarter cousins and God only knows what. And so that's one example. So for you, and for Michelle, with massage therapy, with anyone in the healing arts, with Pat, there's the potential that was very soothing. And that was very funny, actually. Thank you, Rob. A few seconds too late, but so to think about what's a way for you to put into print, you know, in writing some of the different types of ailments you see, or things that people can do to avoid becoming overwhelmed by that stress. So maybe it's to list Reiki as one thing, but list a few other things, so that you kind of blend in what you do with some other things, so that it's not all about you. And that's my counsel to a lot of clients is, don't go for the grand slam every time. If there's only one person on base, the best you're going to get is a 2-run home. And so with this kind of story, with this kind of piece, you know, you can only do so much. I did something recently for another client that was, he went to Haiti in late October, and his company was really supportive of him going. They gave some money, they gave him time off, they were reaching out to his wife while he was gone to make sure everything was okay with the kids and her. And so that story blends in the company, but it doesn't dominate, because even though they're the ones that are paying me, the media really want to know about the guy's trip and what he did in the trip, and some photos from the trip, not all about his work. And so, you know, right now there's 3 publications that are pursuing that story. You know, one, the Daily Herald, the Chicago Tribune, and also my old paper, the Courier News and Elephant. And so that's always a nice problem to have, is how do you juggle all these media? Because sometimes if one places a story, the others cool off on their interest. But fortunately, they're all kind of going at the same time. So I've been given the 2-minute warning. What I want to do at this point is just have you all, again, jot down this note, email Matt, okay, if you want to get this document, okay? And it's really, I hope, a very useful tool. And so that email address is matt@insideedgepr.com. And thanks for doing the @swoop symbol, Ron. That was really creative of you. And so with that, if there are any questions, I'm here to entertain them.